So, Khalil Nazim, can you tell us a little bit about your backstory and how you are affected by, or what your take on the criminal justice reform legislation coming out of the Arkansas legislature?
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me to this space. My name is Khalil Nazim. As you said, I'm formerly incarcerated. I was incarcerated in 1990. At the age of 17, I ultimately did 27 years and 11 months in the Arkansas Department of Correction by way of Miller versus Alabama, the juvenile law that was ruled on by the United States Supreme Court in 2012, which said that it was unconstitutional to give a juvenile a mandatory life without parole sentence, which I fell up under that. 5 years ago, I went back to court, received a 40-year sentence, and ultimately walked out of the Arkansas Department of Correction. As I reflect on my incarceration and some of the things that I felt was needed to make me a more productive citizen, I wasn't given that. When Zach said, just made the statement about the administration of the Arkansas Department of Correction of Tim Griffin saying that they needed more prison systems. There's more prevalent needs within the system that need to be addressed, such as educational programs to curb the recidivism rate. I feel that statistics shows that guys who have done 20 or more years basically age out of criminality. Some of those guys could be released without causing a threat to society. There need to be more educational programs implemented. Some of the money that they're talking about using to expand the prison system can be used to implement educational programs, because statistics also show that when a person is incarcerated and they receive secondary educational programs such as vocational skills and things of that nature, they are less likely to reoffend. So these are some of the things that can be implemented within the prison, within our carceral system, instead of building more institutions. Another take I like to bring attention to: we have prisons that's understaffed and are not fully housed, and can't be fully housed because of the staff issues that the Department of Correction is having. So I think first we need to fix the issues that are readily fixable before we start expanding the carceral system. So that's some of my take on it. And
what's your personal take on the staffing issues? Because we hear that a lot. Why do you think that the correctional system, they're having a hard time with staffing issues? Is it low pay, or what is it?
I think it's a combination of location and the pay. The pay is a fundamental issue. I think they're understaffed because of the low wages. I feel also that it's a lot of policies that adversely affect the people who work there. A lot of times, from my experience of incarceration, the officers get searched and sometimes strip searched just like those who are incarcerated. So it's a combination of issues, but I think one of the primary issues are the turnover rate. They have a high turnover rate. But for the most part, I think it's the pay.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, both of you, from Decarcerate Arkansas.